Game started.
Okay. C-ROM1 from Brazil. Okay, this is English. Let's just go knight f6, sort of a non-committal move. Waiting to see how it develops. Maybe a fianchetto setup. Sometimes you get into a King's Indian this way, but not now. Not now. Let's just castle. I haven't decided. Maybe d6 and c5, or c6 and d5. Let's try c6 and d5. Get a pawn in the center if you can. Traditional advice. So it took. Now if I take with the knight, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes, queen takes, it's defended. So why don't I keep the pieces on though? Take with the pawn. So we have a symmetric structure here. Do I want to develop the bishop? I probably want to play the move e6 at some point to support d5. So it makes sense to develop the bishop first, but is it going to get trapped over here? Let's see what white plays in response to this move. If he gives me one more move, I can play queen to d7, and which would support bishop to h6, and then I would always have a way to save the bishop, avoid being trapped. So he's attacking, yeah, he's attacking this pawn and this pawn simultaneously. I take his knight. He can he capture with the knight, and then I would be defending here, but then he could take here. Not the end of the world, but let's see, is there any other line here? Knight to e5, knight takes, pawn takes, bishop takes. Yeah, this bishop is not very good here. Maybe, yeah, too soon to play e5. Okay, so queen to d7 at least defends the b pawn. He can grab the d pawn though. Let's see if he does. If he takes with the bishop, at least I've gotten rid of that strong bishop. If he takes with the knight, I can take his knight. And cause him to lose castling privileges, which may be useful later on. Maybe there's some compensation, but I think yeah, he's picking up a pawn here. He's just figuring out the best way to do it, probably. Simply, no, I take that back. He can't take on b7, so it's got to be on d5. Knight takes d5. Knight takes, bishop takes, also hits b7. So knight takes b5. How do I play? Knight takes d5, bishop takes e2. Oh, he went with the bishop first. So I thought in this case I need to trade that bishop, because now he had a nasty attack on b7 there, hitting my rook behind the pawn, hitting the pawn which is pinned to the rook. Now he can take with the queen there, yeah, but I don't have to take back with the queen at this point. So do I have a better move? My queen is defended. I could leave it there. I could develop my knight. Queen takes, bishop takes. If I just play bishop to h6, which is tempting to stop him castling, he trades queens. So probably want to try and keep the queen on. I'm going to play knight c6 or rook to d8 maybe. He's got knight to b5, but I have the check here. Okay, let's get my knight developed so my my b7 pawn is not under attack anymore, and my rooks are free to come to the center and harass his queen. So he has the extra pawn, but I have the bishop pair, which is usually worth something. Okay, which rook then? Also, his knight on e2 is hanging if I ever chase his knight on c3 away. So one idea is to advance the pawns and kick the knight on c3, or even sack. But before I get there, let's bring this rook over. I guess I'm thinking the other rook goes on e8, so I can play the move e5 and open up the center a bit. The bishop can also come back to c1. He can put c8. He can put a rook on c1 at some point, which might be a bit awkward, but he's got to develop his bishop first, so it's not happening immediately. So white's probably better, but I have some compensation, maybe activity on the bishop pair. e5, pawn takes, knight takes, yeah, is good. It's supported by both the bishop and the knight, and it would open up a diagonal for my dark squared bishop. So where's his queen going? His queen goes there. Okay, that's a good file for it. So I think e5 now. He plays d5. Yeah, d5 is a threat right here because this guy is pinned. Okay, bishop to e6, hitting his queen. d5. Still, bishop takes, knight takes. Yeah, it's just I don't have enough there. Okay, let us unpin the knight. I don't know if the queen really belongs in this diagonal. I was just getting off of the c file there. That was my main thought there. So now e5. e5, d5, knight moves. Knight to h4. The e5 here is interesting because it forks the knight and the pawn. So it almost forces him to take. And where is that knight threatening to go, though? Here, 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 here. Well, one good thing it did was it got his knight for white. A good thing for white is that it got his knight off of the square e2 where it was potentially hanging, so this knight is now free to move. But it does allow me to get this move in with some tempo here. He could still play d5. So d5, he takes f4. He just took. Okay. So I was thinking taking with the knight, hitting the queen again, and going for this square. Yes. Going for this square on f6, which is always a great square, which has been weakened by white's earlier pawn moves. So what I really need is a knight on f3. And know what I said earlier. F3 is the square I'm talking about. Knight on F3 and the bishop on this diagonal somewhere, and I can do all sorts of terrible things. So if I go knight F3 now, he just has king G2. So I'm going to try and do it in a different order. I'm going to try and get my bishop to C6 and then my knight to F3. See if I can pull that off. He should probably block it with the move E4. But then I have a target on E4 I can hit. Also, his knight on F4 was protecting the square H3, so that's not was not available for my bishop. We're starting to use up some time here too. 3 minutes, 4 minutes. So about half gone, and we're only on move 17. I like to, in an ideal situation, I would spend a little more time than that. Okay, so knight here, check, or here on F6 is my weak spot. I'm going to allow that check. And now he plays that move. Yeah, that's probably good. Good. So where is this knight going though? Okay, so here's an idea. Pawn to G5, hitting the knight. The knight goes to maybe H5. Take, pawn takes. No, I don't want that. I need to undermine this pawn. So knight, pawn G5, and then pawn to F5. And then does he have a really horrible... I can't play that. I can't open up F5. He's got this diagonal with his queen. Okay, so what can I try? Okay, let's get my queen out at least. I'm taking too long. Look at how much time I used on that move. Maybe I could chase his knight away and just win this guy, or the pawn there. Say pawn to G4, G5, knight moves, then bishop takes. Well, he just ignored my move, but maybe he's okay with that.
Check.
It's interesting he played the check. I thought he was going to take my rook. He skewered my queen and rook, so I thought he would just take it. But now he's got to move his knight. On F4, I think he's got to move that. Then I can take on E4. Okay, one of those positions that's gotten out of hand again. But oh, that was his idea. He wants to take the bishop. Okay, so knight takes, and then bishop takes. Pawn takes, bishop takes here. Or I could try pawn takes, bishop takes, bishop takes. Let's get the pawn in there. If he takes here, I take back with the bishop, I guess, because he's hitting my queen. He's still going to win the exchange at the end. So, yeah, I think I have to take here to Yeah, so I'm down on the exchange and a pawn. And I don't think I have any compensation here. Okay. I put it where the queen can take it. That's probably a good trade for him. His pawn is hanging though. But it's not much of a pawn. Oh, he defends it. I was going to say, even if I take it, just rook b1 is a skewer and hits this pawn on b7, so it wouldn't even win a pawn, really. So rook and bishop versus two rooks is a definite advantage for the side with the rooks. Are there any tricks here? This is kind of a weak pawn, and his king is in the corner a bit. I don't know. He can check me here. I just was defending my second rank here, or his seventh rank from his point of view. So if a rook comes down, he brings this out of take. Okay. Well, let's. I want to get my position, my bishop to a position to protect these pawns. It's a little bit hard.
Check.
Yeah. So he drove me to the seventh rank, and then now he can take there. Indeed.
Check.
And what can he do here? I can go after that pawn. He can go after this pawn. But my point is I can get my bishop to that square if he lets me. Let's see. Go after this guy then. Okay, I'll get to a better square for the bishop on c5 here, supported by a pawn and protected from his rook checks, attacks. Protected also. Oops, almost moved too quick. Gotta get rid of
Check.
that guy. Okay, so these guys are set up. I'm almost in checkmate. My king has very few moves here. My bishop has moves. These pawns are on light-colored squares, and so is that one. This is the only one I could attack yet, and he moves
Check.
it forward. But the thing is, he's got to, at some point, move that pawn onto a dark-colored square in order to make progress. So I don't know if I have anything other than a defensive strategy here, though. Let's see if I can hold this off.
Check.
As long as there's squares on this diagonal for the bishop, I can keep doing this.
Check.
So that's the idea, yeah.
Check.
You end up sacrificing your your rook for a pawn. Here, I'll resign here. There's no need to play that out. So
Black
good play.
resigns.
Good play by White. I think I will upload this and do a postmortem, and see you guys later. Bye.